Thanks for tuning in to No Sight, No Problem TV. Today I'm going to show you how to change a carburetor on a Craftsman LT2000 with a Briggs and Stratton 20 horsepower motor. Real quick history on this one: the needle stuck open, flooded out the engine with gas, and obviously you can't run it like that, so we're going to show you how to drain the oil, show you what it looks like, and show you how to actually change the carburetor and start it up, and hopefully everything goes well. So let's get right into it. So we're going to start by taking off the air cleaner cover, which has these two plastic wing nuts here. Like so. Let me set that over here. Oh, there's no oil filter on it. Isn't that special? Absolutely. I love people who try to work on their stuff first. So we're going to remove this blower housing cover. It has 4 10mm bolts, 2 in the front and 2 in the rear.
What size wrench are you using?
10mm. Alright, the 2 front ones are out. Get into the back too. Fun stuff. Carburation is always a problem on these small engines. I've made my money on carburation on all the small engines, whether it's golf carts, tractors, lawnmowers, boats. And a lot of it really comes down to people don't use the proper gas. They just don't maintain them. So then they run into these kind of issues. And at some point in time, I'll do a whole video on just fuel and how to and what not to do. I'm also going to do a video in the very near future on proper battery maintenance and how to test batteries. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I gotta get a nut driver. Right there, I believe. Yep. I missed one.
It's kind of hidden.
Yeah, you see that little thing buried in there?
Yep, so that normally where the air filter is, it would be behind that piece back there. Right down there.
I'm not even sure what size it is, I just know what it is. There we go. That little teeny screw is down in there.
Okay.
There we go. I don't know if you guys can see this on video, but I want to kind of show you what this gas looks like. So most of you know what oil looks like, but you can probably see how runny that is.
Yeah, it's pretty black too for gas.
And yeah, that's all just pure gas inside the engine.
Gas and oil, you mean?
Carburetor adapter. That's gonna have 2 11mm nuts. One right here. And then one on the inside right there. And take off the little breather hose off the back of that, just like so. Just set that nut there. We'll set that nut right there. That is off, as you can see. So we got those 2 10mm bolts off. This is the main fuel line. And normally you'd have to pinch this off, but that tank is completely emptied because all the gas is in the motor. So we're just going to take this pair of needle nose pliers, grab this pinch clamp, pull it off like so. Let's see if it makes a liar out of me. Oh, there's some stats here. I do have regular fuel line tools, but they're on another project right now. You older folks probably know these more as roach clips. Just saying. Put this on here like so. There we go. That'll pinch the fuel line off, so it may get just a little bit, but nothing too bad. That's much better. All right, now we'll get the studs out of there. And they are an 8mm deep well socket. Like so.
Doesn't look like they have a gasket on there anymore either.
They probably don't. Oh, that probably has an O-ring. I didn't look, but that probably has an O-ring. Oh, this has, I gotta take, there's a plug in the bottom here on the fuel shut-off solenoid. Well, we'll get it in a second because it wants to be stuck. So one. Ah, shoot. Okay. There we go. That's unplugged.
So you just pull that out from the bottom.
Yep. And then this is the choke linkage here that I'm taking off. There we go. Took it off the motor first. Then I take it off the carburetor like that. Don't force it. It'll come off very nice. You don't want to bend any of the linkages. And then we have the actual throttle linkage itself right here that I'm going to take off right now. Like, maybe like so. Hang on a minute.
You don't want to take that off from the...
Just like that. And then we got to take the governor spring off. Just like so. There we go. And the carburetor is off and in my hand. And that is what the carburetor looks like. And I don't see any... Oh yeah, there's a gasket on there. Okay. I'm going to go get a new carburetor ready to install. And we're going to go ahead and drain the oil. We're going to take the oil filter off. We're going to install the new oil filter, put oil in it, put a brand new battery in it, clean up the flywheel, and see if this bad boy starts. Okay, so here is the new carburetor, and this is the new gasket. So let's start putting things back together here. We will start by putting the throttle linkage in the hole. There we go, just like that. That's called a tight fit there. Alright, now we'll take this choke linkage right here. And then we'll come over to this. And that'll go in right. Like that.
Back your hand away for a minute. So I can get a close up.
See how that goes there?
There, yep.
And then that comes in the motor. Right there. So that goes like that. It's your choke.
So it just slides through that hole?
Yep.
Okay.
It just sits in there just like that. My studs here, and I will put this one in right here. Then I'll put this one in here. Then I'll take my new gasket and I'll set it there. Make sure it sits in the carburetor nicely. Everything works like it should. Yep, that's perfect. Now we just come over here. And just start everything by hand, like so. Just like that, baby. I find my ratchet, which I believe I dropped.
Put it back up on the
Oh, thank you.
pedal thing.
I'm so,
pedal thing.
I'm so glad for a
that
lovely assistant. I'll tighten up these studs again. They just need to be snug. You don't need to go crazy here. We're not building a space shuttle. Okay, then we want to plug our fuel solenoid back in, which again is that plug right in the bottom of the carburetor. It's only going to plug in one way. There we go. Just like so. Alright, the carburetor is installed. So now we'll put our...
Just need to put the governor spring back on?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to put this... Actually, I'll put the fuel in a minute, yeah. Let's see here. Where's my... There's my governor spring. Since you brought it up, I'll put it on right now so I don't flip and forget. I got oil all over my hands. Would you like to slip it in that little teeny hole there?
I can try.
Okay, right there. See that little hooky right there?
Yep.
There's just a little teeny hole. Slide that right in there for me. My hands are slippery and sweaty.
Alright. Let's see if I can film this and do this at the same time.
That's the test your skills. I bet you got this.
It's kind of like threading a needle. That's kind of the... Okay, there. It is in.
Thanks.
And I'll do a close-up of that just so you can see.
I knew that felt good.
Wow. It is like threading a needle. Alright.
Alright, sweet. So, we're actually going to leave that fuel line off right now and try to run some fresh fuel through the tank and change the fuel filter. But the carburetor is on. I guess the only other thing I can put on right now is this, and I think this has its own O-ring. Yep, it does. We don't need to worry about a gasket. So, just so I don't forget, I want to put this back on here. And we'll get the nuts. Those are the two 11mm nuts I was telling you about. Alright, there's that. There's this one. Okay, let's go ahead and tighten these up here. Let me get a drain pan real fast, and while that's draining, we'll look for a new fuel filter. Alright, so fuel tank is flushed. I've got to change a piece of fuel line here because I don't like the way this looks. So we're just going to take this old piece off of this. That. So I'm gonna put this. Alright, there we go. So, put that on there like that. And we'll kind of measure this out to see where I want it. Right about there. But hey, 10 snips work just as well, I guess. There we go. That fuel line there, or clamp on there.
It's a something.
Perfect. So, we are going to, I already drained out some of the motor, but I forgot to have Pam turn the camera on. So here's the second half of this. We already emptied the drain pan once. You can obviously see all the gas coming out of there. So now we're going to take off the oil filter. Okay. Golly, I got that thing on there tight enough. Which, by the way, folks, oil filters only need to be hand tight. You should not have to use a wrench to take off an oil filter. Let's see how full of gas this is. Oh, yummy.
There's not much of anything in there, really.
Nope. Let me, so you can see how gross that is, though. Let me go get the new one and... All right. And there, folks, see, just hand tight. There, that's all we needed. Just like that. All right. So just a quick recap. The carburetor has been changed. The fuel tank has been flushed and new fuel line's been added. The engine has been flushed and the oil filter has been changed. Now I'm going to add some fresh fuel in here real quick. Okay, if you wouldn't mind putting that back, I'll put my wrench away. Alright.
I'm going to be putting oil in. Starting with a quart. He said about a quart. So I'm starting with a quart of oil. He said probably about a quart and a half. Okay, so I put a quart and a half of oil in. I'm going to go ahead and check the oil.
Let's see if the blind guy was right.
And as you can see, or maybe not see, because it's so clean and clear, it is full. Exactly full.
Damn, on a quart and a half, huh?
Yep.
Alright. So the next thing I want to do, you can see the flywheel's kind of rusty. Looks like this tractor's been sitting a little while. So I'm going to get some sandpaper and clean that up, because if it's rusty like that, it will keep it from sparking. So since the blower housing cover is off, I want to go ahead and sand that up a little bit. The flywheel has magnets on it, actually. Okay, so as you can see, I've cleaned the rust off of the flywheel, and we have regapped the coil, and it's full of oil. And I have the spark plug tester on here, and I'm gonna turn it over and see if it has spark. Let's see what happens here. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a spark.
I'm thinking it's got spark. Okay, so as you can see, we have spark. So we're gonna actually start it and let it run for a minute. I don't like to let it run too long without the blower housing on it, because it actually helps keep it cool. But I want to make sure it's actually going to start and idle and do what it's supposed to do with the new carb on it. So let's see what happens here. Very nice. It idles, goes full throttle. So I'm going to put the blower housing back on it, clean up a few things, then I'll come back. We'll let it start and run for about 5-10 minutes. And I gotta order an air filter for it. You can see the blower housing cover is back on. So now we're going to go ahead and put the bolts back in this bad boy. We'll start with the two in the front here. Maybe. Yeah. There we go. Alright, front two are hand tight. I'm going to put the back ones in. Again, these are 10mm bolts that hold this blower housing on. Very proud of the way it runs. I like taking things in here that seem hopeless, you know, and a lot of time, you know, I get so much equipment in here that people are ready to just take to the scrapyard, and it has many more years of useful life in it, but they just don't know how to fix it, and I can save it for them. Usually, you know, a mower like this, typically new, is going to run about $1,600 bucks. Typically, to put a new carburetor on, change the oil filter, spark plug, basic tune-up, you're in the $500 price range on average. That's a whole lot cheaper than buying a new mower. So I always try to encourage people, you know, let's at least look at it first before you go in that kind of debt and fill up the landfill. We'll put this little teeny bolt back here. Oh, there we go. I have to order an air filter for this. I do not have one in stock, but that's okay.
We didn't know it was missing either.
Yeah. So we'll just put this in place for right now. Headlight bulb, so I'm gonna let the harness lay there for a minute because I want it to run. I don't want to catch anything on fire. Set this hood and these hinges just like.
So those of you that think because Steve is blind and he can't do this all by himself, I very rarely have to assist with anything.
That did go on pretty easy. Sometimes I think I can see.
Yeah, sometimes I think you can see too.
Thank you for tuning into NSNP TV as I showed you how to replace a carburetor and gasket and fuel line and change the oil and oil filter, clean the flywheel, check for spark, and flush out the gas tank on a Craftsman LT2000 lawn tractor with a Briggs and Stratton 20 horsepower engine. If you like the content, please subscribe to my channel and share with your friends.